Have you ever felt like you weren't alone, even in an empty room? What you're about to see defies logic, science, and for some, sanity itself. From radiant figures captured by security cameras to impossible rescues where the savior simply vanishes into thin air, we've gathered the most disturbing and divine footage ever documented. But before we move on, I need to ask you a question that is dividing opinions around the world. Do you believe these records are real proof of angels and miracles, or are they merely optical illusions and technological fabrications created to deceive us? Many claim that what you'll see in a minute is the ultimate proof that the sky is opening up, while skeptics say it's just a reflection of light. Take a good look at the images and tell me in the comments, is it faith or is it fraud? Get ready, because the last video on this list will make you question everything you think you know about reality. Message in the cloud. In the images, a giant figure begins to slowly rise from the clouds, its shape identical to that of Christ, firm and with open arms, as if embracing the horizon. For those who saw it, it was more than a simple optical phenomenon. It was a symbol of hope. The man immediately sensed that this was a message for him not to give up. The most incredible part comes next. He said he was going through a really tough time in his life, full of problems. But right after this encounter with the clouds, things started to work out in a way he never imagined. Everything calmed down as if by magic. Final light. The sky in Argentina decided to put on a show that left everyone speechless, and the video went viral faster than bad news. What the cameras captured was so impressive that people didn't know whether to pray or run. The sun shone brightly behind, but the effect was so bizarre that it gave the impression that the intense light emanated from the figure itself and not from the sun, a true visual spectacle. On the streets, the atmosphere was chilling. People ran towards the apparition, overcome by a mixture of fear and awe. For many, it was not just an optical phenomenon, but a clear sign that something big is about to happen. The figure of light. A man was sitting in the mosque, enjoying the silence and peace, and decided to film the interior. At the time of recording, he noticed absolutely nothing different. Everything was calm and deserted. The shock came later when he reviewed the footage at home. In the video, a bright figure appears, completely enveloped in light, sitting calmly in a prayerful position. The bizarre detail: no one who was there saw this person in person. In Islam, there is a belief that angels are beings made purely of light. For those who saw the images, there was no doubt the video captured a sacred moment and a type of presence that the human eye cannot always perceive. Angel rescue. If you don't believe in guardian angels, this video will blow your mind. Security cameras from China captured what should have been a fatal accident, but ended up becoming one of the internet's biggest mysteries. In the last millisecond, a bright figure appeared out of nowhere and literally pulled the cyclist to the other side of the street in the blink of an eye. It was like teleportation. The truck driver and the cyclist were in complete shock. They saw the figure's hands and face glowing intensely before it concealed the glow under a hood, put its hands in its pockets, and walked calmly as if it had just completed a routine task. The mysterious light after baptism. This video was reportedly recorded during a man's baptism, and one detail caught the eye immediately after he emerged from the water. Near him, an intense light appeared for a few moments, surprising those around him who reacted in silence. The person in charge of the ceremony interpreted the phenomenon as a divine sign, stating that it could represent the presence of an angel. Some faithful agreed with this interpretation and saw the moment as something spiritual. Others, however, suggest simpler explanations, such as light reflection, camera effect, or environmental conditions. Without a more detailed analysis, what appears in the video remains open to different interpretations. Brilliant visitor. A figure appeared out of nowhere, shining so brightly that it was impossible not to notice. It wasn't just there, the form was clear and visible, illuminating everything around it for a brief instant. What was most shocking was the size of the wings. They opened completely, covering the figure as if it were a cloak made of pure light, before the being simply flew away. The cameraman who was watching the cameras didn't think twice. He ran to the exact location of the apparition. But, as with any good mystery, when he got there, the place was empty. The angel had already left. Lights in the church. In the midst of prayers for the deceased, the atmosphere changed completely. Bright, radiant angels appeared out of nowhere, making their presence clear to everyone there. It wasn't an impression, it was real and visible. Imagine the scene, everyone in awe witnessing that intense light. The general feeling was that the soul of the deceased was receiving a direct and very special blessing. The atmosphere of sadness gave way to profound comfort. This miraculous event brought the community to a standstill, as it was the first time something of this kind had been officially recorded in that church, a unique moment of divine connection. Radiant vision. In the middle of the gathering, a brilliant figure simply appeared in the air. The outline was so clear that no one had any doubt. It looked like the classic image of Jesus, shining with an intensity that illuminated everything around it. And it wasn't just a static light, you know. The figure moved up and down as if it were floating, and even changed color to a deep purple before returning to that original radiant white. It looked like a celestial dance. The impact was so great that the crowd couldn't contain themselves and began singing religious hymns right there in the middle of the street, expressing their gratitude for what they were witnessing. The atmosphere was of pure emotion. Divine listener. During a live broadcast from the Nabawi Mosque, the cameras captured something that no one has been able to explain so far. While the crowd sat intently, focused on the Imam's words, a bright, shimmering figure appeared out of nowhere in the midst of the people. It wasn't just a blob. The figure stood out with striking clarity. The craziest thing is that it wasn't something anyone noticed only afterwards. Those who were watching live around the world saw the light flash simultaneously. The comment section exploded instantly. The place was packed, but that presence seemed to have its own space, emanating a peace that permeated the screen. For many, it was visual proof of the silent presence of an angel among the faithful. Guardian of the road. A girl escaped a terrible fate in a way that no one, neither those who were there nor those who saw the cameras, could logically explain. The girl ended up stepping into the street just as two cars were speeding towards her. One driver managed to brake, but the other wasn't going to stop in time. It was the perfect scenario for a tragedy. out of nowhere, a mysterious man appeared amidst the chaos. With inhuman agility, he pulled the girl out of the way of the car, just as it almost hit her. It was a split second. Before anyone could say thank you or ask who he was, the man simply vanished without a trace. He didn't stay for the applause, he just disappeared. The mystery of the apparition above the clouds. A gigantic silhouette with what appeared to be enormous wings was seen moving calmly among the clouds. The size of the creature was undeniable and drew the attention of entire cities. At that moment, the witnesses had no doubt and began to praise God, convinced that they were in the presence of a real angel. A climate of reverence filled the streets. People didn't just stop at admiration. Many are interpreting the apparition as a direct message to Arab leaders, a kind of warning to remain vigilant against enemies. Passengers of the sky. In the middle of the demonstration, the crowd stopped to look up. What did they see? Figures that perfectly resembled men on horseback, galloping among the clouds as if they were on a mission. The movement was bizarre. A group of knights would emerge from one cloud and then disappear into another, crossing the sky in a way that no one could explain. For those who were there fighting for their rights at such a difficult time, the sight was a balm. The general feeling was that God had sent an army of angels to give them the moral support they so desperately needed. Dark Savior. If you were walking through Toronto and saw a silhouette like that, you'd definitely be breathless. A pedestrian noticed something bizarre in the distance, and what started as curiosity ended up being one of the most exciting sights in recent times. Determined to understand what it was, he grabbed his cell phone and zoomed in carefully. The shock was immediate. The image was so clear and extraordinary that he was simply stunned by what the lenses revealed. The "is it just me" feeling ended when another person also stopped to record the phenomenon. There, the first man was certain it wasn't a trick of light, a reflection from a building, or an ordinary shadow. He felt deep in his heart that he was standing before an image of Jesus. Angelic witness. In the midst of the baptism, what seemed to be just a silly wisp of smoke near the man began to change. Slowly, that mist took shape until it revealed two torsos, super sharp humans floating right there. Those watching quickly connected the dots. Two angels appeared at that exact sacred moment. For those present, it was a visual confirmation that our spiritual protection activates the second a person undergoes baptism. The video went viral as proof that we are not alone and that our guardian angels begin their official shift right after this rite of passage. Cloud shape. In the video, a faint, almost transparent figure emerges from the clouds and then disappears as if camouflaged within the sky itself. You know that feeling of, "I saw it, but I didn't see it"? That's it. Just when the viewer was about to give up, the camera captured the figure's full shape with chilling clarity. That was enough for the video to go viral and start a frenzy of comments. People were really divided. While many were moved, believing it to be an angel, others raised concerns. Is everything that shines in the sky divine? Some even warned such figures may be illusions meant to deceive the more curious. Bright orb. If you think security cameras only capture annoying things, this video will prove you wrong. A recording captured a super mysterious visitor in a room, and people on the internet are already creating 1,000 theories. Out of nowhere, the little creature's form changed, and it transformed into a bright, perfect sphere of light floating smoothly across the room. It was a metamorphosis worthy of a movie. The cameraman offered an explanation that made everything even more exciting. In his city, it's believed that guardian angels manifest themselves exactly like that, as orbs of light. He has no doubt that he captured a protector in action. Cloud celestial. The sun's rays struck the cloud at the perfect angle, transforming it into a brilliant, utterly supernatural entity. It wasn't just another cloud, it shone like something from another world. Many people who saw the scene truly believed it was a message from Jesus, a visual reminder that there is someone up there watching over us and keeping an eye on everything. Those who witnessed the moment said it was impossible not to feel small in the face of such beauty. The atmosphere was of pure inspiration and gratitude for such a gift in the middle of the day. Silent guardian. The Siberian cold is already bone-chilling, but what appeared out of nowhere in a remote region left everyone in total shock. A strange statue appeared in the middle of nowhere, and the climate of fear spread so quickly that the authorities were alerted immediately. What shocked people the most was the level of detail. The face is almost entirely hidden by a veil, leaving only the nose and lips visible. The clothes look so realistic that it gives the impression that it was a living being that turned to stone in the blink of an eye. The theory circulating there is that the statue is actually a fallen angel frozen in time. The mystery is so great that no one knows if it's art or something much deeper. Ghostly cult. At the moment of prayer, when all the faithful lifted their heads from the ground at the same time, a transparent and somewhat ghostly figure emanated gracefully from the line and began to move around the courtyard. The figure moved with surreal lightness and simply vanished into the distance while everyone remained focused on their prayer. Those watching from home noticed it immediately. The person who took the pictures had no doubts and commented, "Angels also pray and circle the Kaaba." According to her, sometimes these beings become visible just to give us a spoiler of God's miracles. Celestial brilliance. A group of teenagers recorded a bright figure hovering over the Dome Rock near the Al-Aqsa Mosque. The entity shone so brightly that it could be seen for miles. The teenagers believed it was there to protect people in times of stress. Suddenly, the light intensified and the figure disappeared as if it had never been there. Surprised and confused, the teenagers posted the footage online in search of answers. What's your opinion on this? Leave a comment below. Flaming portal. The image shows a giant ring of fire spinning and shining with absurd intensity in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't just any effect. The light seemed to have a life of its own. The detail that left everyone speechless was what appeared within to appeared. Through it, you could see clouds floating above a world totally different from anything we know. It was like a window to another reality. As expected, people started theorizing heavily. Many believe the video is a glimpse into the afterlife, a kind of gateway to heaven sent as a divine sign to inspire people. A story of faith following a serious accident. Terrible accident left a man and his family in total shock, with him seriously injured on the road. But what happened next is chilling. While waiting for help, lying on the road, he saw an angel walking towards him. The being gently touched his back, and out of nowhere he felt an absurd force take over his body. The message was short and to the point. Don't listen to anyone. Already in the hospital, sitting alone on his bed, he gathered everyone together and made a bold promise. He was going to return home safe and sound. He had already decided that this story would have a happy ending. The situation was so serious that the doctors suggested amputating his leg. But remember the angel's advice? He ignored the pessimism, refused surgery, and kept his focus on the image of his wife and children together again. He knew that the family would be whole again. Flying over the mountain. One night in Jamaica, people sitting in a mountain cafe heard cries for help. As they ran outside, they saw an angel flying towards the sky, disappearing into the clouds. The sky seemed to welcome the angel's ascension. Some believed they had witnessed a true divine sign, while others wondered if it had been merely a fleeting vision, leaving everyone in awe. Blessed presence. In the middle of the ceremony, the priest felt he wasn't alone and that the atmosphere in the hall had changed. He became so uneasy that he asked the cameraman to give the recordings a quick check. When they pressed play, the shock was universal. A transparent, winged creature was seen flying over the church hall with surreal lightness. It wasn't a bird, it wasn't a drone, it was something that seemed to pierce through the air. For the priest, there was no error. It was an angel sent directly from God to bless that moment. The cameraman, even after seeing the images, remained silently wondering, was it a miracle or just a trick of fleeting light? Rising glow. In the middle of the video, a super bright figure appeared, rising straight towards the sky. The light was so strong and intense that he didn't even consider stopping recording. He stood there, mesmerized by the brightness. The most bizarre moment was when that single light split into two separate forms. They began to rise together in a perfect choreography, as if they were returning home. The guy was simply stunned. For him, there was no other explanation. He had just filmed angels returning to heaven after completing some mission down here. Angel Patrol. It all started with a tip from a neighbor who suggested they take a look at the recordings after seeing the cat interacting with some raccoons. The plan was just to see the animal mess. Instead of just animals, they were shocked to see a faint, hazy figure moving through the yard. It wasn't a lens malfunction. The shape moved with a smoothness that made it seem like an angel on patrol. For the family, the video was a real boost. They immediately felt that the shadow of light was a guardian angel watching over the house. The feeling of fear gave way to peace and renewed faith. Hidden protector. The world seems to be crumbling around you, and the last thing you expect is to find peace. Jimmy went through a moment of pure terror amidst the wreckage and destruction, but what he found along the way changed his life forever. Jimmy was in the middle of a completely destroyed place, with debris flying towards him and excruciating pain. He was trying to climb a hill of rubble to reach an underground passage, seriously believing he wouldn't survive. Upon reaching the passage, he came face to face with something bizarre. A man sitting calmly under a blanket. While the world outside was ending, that stranger emanated such a great peace that it gave Jimmy the courage that was lacking to continue. Once the danger had passed and the dust had settled, Jimmy looked around to thank or speak to the man. The result? Nothing. No trace, no mark on the ground, nothing to prove that someone had been sitting there seconds before. Whether these videos are real proof of the divine or phenomena we still can't explain, the final answer depends solely on your perception. But one thing is certain, these images leave a deep mark on those who witness them. And you, which of these cases impressed you the most? Do you believe the fallen angel in Siberia was real, or do you agree with those who say it's just a work of art? If you enjoy exploring the mysteries of the world and want to discover more curiosities that defy logic, don't forget to leave your like if this video made you think. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next mysteries. Activate the notification bell to be the first to arrive when the next secret is revealed. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Stay alert because the next sign might be right in front of you. Until next time.